I told you you were beautiful, would you date me on the regular? Tell me would you? Well baby, I've been around the world, but I ain't seen myself another girl like you.
What's up? It's your girl Chief 10 and welcome back to my channel. Today we are getting into a wig reconstruction fix, a whole bunch. Like, we did a lot with this wig. So this is the before. It's an old wig. I tried the color, I was rushing. I did a botched color job. It's an old hot glue gun method wig, so it needed to be remade. We needed to get the frontal together. Like, she just had a lot of problems, and today we're gonna fix all of those. So if you would like to see how I turned this orangey botch colored wig to this, just keep on watching. Alright, so to start this wig fix, I decided I wanted to color it first before deconstructing it. I just find it easier to color hair, lift hair, bleach it, whatever you want to call it, while it's in a unit, because I can see exactly where the color is going to lie. I don't have to try to figure it out or do guesswork of where I'm going to lay tracks. So I usually color hair after the unit is made, so I decided to go ahead and lift it, re-bleach it while it was still made. And I'm using the Wella bleach and I started with a 50 volume developer, and then I also used a 30 when I ran out of that. So I'm just going to put that over the areas that I missed when I first colored this hair. So anywhere that is black or a little discolored, because I wanted this to be a solid color unit. So if one red was kind of patchy or orange color was kind of patchy, I went over it with the bleach again to lift it so I could redeposit the correct colors.
Turn me inside out, make my heart beat. Need no one else, you're all I need. Personality, everything you do, it's me love.
So this is one of the frontals, because I did end up sewing two frontals together to give myself more parting space, which we'll talk about shortly. But this is it after about an hour. I felt like it could get lighter so the color would take more vibrantly, so I let it sit for another hour both on this frontal and the unit. This is what the unit was looking like again after the first hour. It lifted pretty well. I definitely could have rinsed out the bleach here and deposited color if I wanted to, but I felt like it could get a little bit lighter just so the color would be as vibrant as possible. So I decided to put it back under the bag to help it process, because I didn't have any foil, which helps hair process quicker. But I just put it under the bag and let it sit for another hour.
It's not that I don't want you here. It's something about the way you stare into my eyes. I know that I don't make things clear. I fall for you every time I try to resist. We can get away from these beach views and every day. All I wanna hear is an everything that we play.
So once it lightened up to the color that I liked, I went ahead and rinsed it out, and then I deposited the color. And these are the colors that I used on my hair: the Adore Copper Brown and Paprika. And I used the watercolor method to get the job done. So I started coloring the frontal. So I just emptied both containers out into a smaller container that I had in the sink. And I just let the color drain out, and then I added a little bit of water just to stretch it. And then I used my coloring brush to make sure that it got on the roots, but it wasn't bleaching through or coloring through, and just to make sure all of that was really saturated. And then I just brushed the rest of the color on the hair.
I think I need you here. I swear it's time to keep these feelings to myself. Now you're the one I'm thinking of. My higher ground, my rocket love. For
completed the same steps on the unit. After I rinsed the bleach out, I shampooed it, a neutralizing shampoo, to make sure that all of the bleach was out. And then I repeated the same coloring steps on the unit and let both of those sit with conditioner for a couple hours, rinsed it out, and let them both air dry overnight. This is me deconstructing the unit to be able to remake it on a new cap and sewing the frontals together. So I'm just pulling it apart because that is the blessing of a hot glue gun unit. All you got to do is pull, and if there was any large chunks of like glue still left on the weft, I just pulled it off. And that's how simple it is. That's why we love hot glue gun method units. Next, I continue with the deconstructing, taking the wig band off of the second frontal, and then I'm going to move into putting two frontals together so that I have a larger parting space, more lace to do more different styles with. And I've just took two old frontals and I will show you how I sewed them together to turn it into, I don't know what size it is, but a large closure from a 13x4 frontal. So once I got the elastic band off, this is what the frontals look like. As you can see, they've already been cut, they've been used, they're old, they've been abused, it's uneven, a lot happened. But we're gonna make it into something that we can use on this brand new wig we're about to construct. So here are the two frontals. As you can see, both beat up, both pre-cut, but we're gonna make it into something better. So this is me trying to figure out how I wanted to lay these down, sew them together, make sure that it actually would look like full lace closure, and that it wouldn't have too many like signs of these are two frontals sewn together. If I was to do this again, I would definitely sew off the reinforced edge of the one frontal that I sewed the back to, so you couldn't see that line, that extra like bunch of fabric, because it's reinforced. I would cut that off so that it's just a single layer of lace like the rest of the closure, and I think that would give me an even more seamless look when I'm parting my hair. It doesn't look bad, but if I was to do it again, I would cut that off. So to start sewing these together, I braided the hair out of the way so that I could sew and see what I was doing. So I just took both ends of both frontals and braided it down, and then I flipped them over to sew them together. I chose which frontal looked better and which one I wanted to have as the front of my unit, and then I put the front of one frontal to the back of the other. And they didn't line up and match perfectly, but that was fine. As you'll see later, I ended up finessing that and fixing it. So I used transparent nylon thread and a regular sewing needle to sew these two frontals together. And I just went across the center of it and tried to make them as even as possible. And like I said, we'll clean up the uneven edges later. When I was sewing these two frontals together, I made sure to put the stitches very close together so that it wouldn't bunch or gather. So if you decide to do that, be mindful of your thread placement. Don't put it too spaced apart, because when you pull it to like tighten it, it'll bunch up. Alright, so we got our frontals sewn together and this is what it is looking like. I'm loving it so far. I was going to try to put it on the wig just like this and see if the ear flaps would lay where they're supposed to, but of course they didn't, so I ended up having to cut that off, and that's why this double frontal unit turned into a wide closure. I evened out the uneven edges and made it into a big square like a frontal or like a closure would be. This is what the frontal was looking like. I was trying to see what the parting space was going to look like, and as I said before, I would have cut off that reinforced edge, and I think this would have gave it a more seamless blend. I think because of that reinforced edge, that's why it kind of looks like two. When you get close up on it, it looks like two frontals put together. So if you're going to do this, cut off the extra reinforced edge, and I feel like you will have a much more seamless look. Here I am parting the hair out of the way to even out that frontal. As you can see, I cut off one edge And I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. I just parted the hair out of the way and cut straight up to make it even for both sides of the frontal. So once I got the frontal turned closure together, I started to reconstruct the wig, and I did the quickest method that I love, which is a hot glue gun method. Literally take a hot glue gun and lay the tracks down. Basically like a quick weave, but it's, I feel, a lot less messy and a lot quicker than hair glue, a lot more durable. I had this wig constructed in a hot glue gun method before, and it lasted me years. I'm just now taking it down to remake it, so live for it. So once I finished constructing her, we did a little feel through to see how she was looking, feeling. I definitely could cut some more layers in her, but at this point I just wanted to straighten her to see what she really looked like. But I just did a little examination, and I tried her on for a fitting, and I found that she was too big. So we had to do a whole bunch of searching on YouTube University to figure out how to make her smaller, because when I constructed it, I pulled the wig cap down to make sure I had enough space, because usually when I hot glue gun, it's a little tight. But I actually probably should have left it, because stretching it out made her too loose. But I will link the videos that I used to figure out how to construct it and make it smaller without having to take it all the way apart. I'll link those in the description box for you. It was a really simple fix. I just went in between the wefts that I glued down and sewed the cap together to make it smaller. So this was our first fitting, where we did a lot of troubleshooting to see what really needed to happen. So after I made those fixes, got the elastic band on that is still not placed right because it doesn't hold the edges down and it can't be completely glueless, which is upsetting, but I'll have to go back and fix that another day because, baby, I was done working on this wig. This wig took me like 3 days of work. I straightened her to see what she was giving because I really wanted this unit to be my straight unit of this color. But I decided she just looked better with curls. So I was getting into the scalp, seeing what she was looking like, seeing what those two frontals were looking like, how I felt like this was going to blend or melt down, quote unquote. So then I put her on and styled her. Here is another look at the color in my studio lighting. So I just put the wig on and used my Bedhead Extreme Hold hairspray, which works 1,000 times better to me than Got To Be. So get into it. You can get it at Target. You see that can right there. It's the truth. But I installed the wig, did a little bit of plucking to the part to make it a little bit wider, got in with the hot comb to make it lay as flat as possible. And yeah, I was very proud of this wig. I probably should have said this disclaimer at the beginning, but I am just a kitchen beautician, been in nobody's school, nobody's nothing. I play with things and try to figure it out, and YouTube University helps me. But I was extremely proud of how I fixed this wig, the color, how it felt after being conditioned, washed, and bleached and everything. This hair was still extremely soft. It had body, it moved, it had sheen. I was living for it, loving it, and I was really putting in work. Do y'all see this work she's putting in? The curling, the styling, the plucking. Who is she? Very proud of how this came out. And then this was my final results. Love how my color came out. It just looks beautiful, and like I said, extremely proud of myself for this unit. But yes, that is all I have for you guys in today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it as well. Subscribe if you messing with the kid for real. Come on and join the 10 Band fam. Hit that bell, all videos, so you're always notified when I have a brand new upload. And I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much again, and stay true.